Coming back at you, Texans franchise. This is, I believe, season 3, season 4, maybe. But hey, it's a new season. Well, kind of seems, maybe unfortunately, it's the same team. Just 3-2. I don't know. Kind of looks like a new team, but at the same time, last season was a slow start as well. 3-2 Texans team, only 121 points for, but however, it's only 129 points for. Look at that, 55 points against for Peyton Manning's Colts team, 6-0. Which, let's be honest, if Peyton Manning had the defenses that Tom Brady had on that Patriots dynasty that they had, because Tom Brady was overrated, then I think Peyton Manning probably would have had 7 or 8 Super Bowls. So, fucking come at me with that shit. Stop with Tom Brady is the fucking greatest of all time. No, 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 no. But hey, this is a Houston Texans franchise. I know I'm pepping up Peyton Manning and just the lack of defense he had. I don't care if he had Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. He had dog shit until Bob Sanders and Cato June came into town. But hey, speaking of coming into town, going up against the 12s, put quotations around that because apparently, Seattle Seahawks think they originated the 12th man. But again, I'm just being a sour Aggie bitch, and that's what kind of seems to be the case these days, since that is one big problem. Aggie fans think they just own the state again, just because Texas is doing kind of shitty compared to them. It's just sorry, folks. You're gonna have to do a little bit more than that, than just one season with Johnny, which I am looking forward to this season, and maybe not looking forward to the rest of this game after that huge play to start this one off. Matt Hasselbeck getting quite a bit of yards, not really with his arm, considering it was piss poor attempts by Dante Robinson right there, and it looked like a lack of speed by Mr. Walker, which is kind of expected. Seattle starting this game off hot, 7-0. Again, we looked at it. Falcons team seemed to be just on a whole nother level. They just won the Super Bowl against a Bengals team that just got completely lucky, and I think the Falcons got lucky as well, even though I do think that Falcons team on paper is just fucking amazing. And I think Michael Vick, I can't say it enough, is possibly he looks better than our Madden 08 Michael Vick on the Panthers. Like, honest to God, and I know Madden 07 was, or maybe, no, it was the year after 07. I was around there, literally 2007, to where he gets in his dog charges and stuff like that. Isn't it weird? You just have one thing happen to a dude that's just completely unrelated to one thing, and then it's like Tiger Woods crashes his fucking car. Now, mind you, I think he was in the middle. You end up finding out that he's in the middle of it, but news-wise, the way it was put out, that he crashed his car, and then you're like, oh wait, he crashed his car in his driveway, speeding off from his wife, swinging his golf clubs at him. Then you start to realize that was related. But what? All you get charged with is at the airport with a dime bag underneath, your Yeti cup that kind of seems. What if you find out that's how Yeti just gets famous and no one realized that it was actually a Yeti cup in 2007, 2008, in which Yeti ends up becoming popular just because they've been known as the cup that the dime bag was put underneath in a little secret container, even though I'm pretty sure Yetis do not have secret containers in them on the bottom. But you end up seeing that he goes from having an arrest for having a dime bag, or arrest or fine or something like that. Maybe just considering contraband. Big play right here by Mr. Dickerson. Big Dickerson on the interception return. Thank God, since it's 7-14 now. We needed that. We needed an interception right there by Buchanan as well. Come on, man. We needed that shit. Decent run right here by Dominic Davis, who I'm trying to groom Mr. Brunson to become the starting running back, save some money for when Dominic Davis is going to be like, yeah, man, I'm so fucking good. Like, I deserve all this money. No, you're not. David Carr, Andre Johnson, Roddy White. Those are the real studs of this offense, in all honesty. Andre Johnson doesn't get it done on this play, but I'm pretty sure y'all will be quite impressed by his performance throughout the rest of this game, especially since we're going to be behind a decent amount to catch up. And maybe we do catch up, maybe we don't. We'll have to see how it finishes. But, of course, it's going to be a good-ass game between these two teams. That should have been picked off. But it's weird. Just goes from airport arrest, and then holy shit, out of nowhere, it's just throwing the accusation on the table. Bam. Dime bag arrest. in an airport, the Atlanta airport. And then it's like, oh yeah, Michael Vick ends up getting arrested for the dime bag. And then the last thing you would have thought was, wait, what the fuck does a pit bull have to do with this? Apparently it has everything to do with it somehow. And Michael Vick ends up, going on one of the worst just shame tours ever. And rightfully so. But man's been a nice redemption story as well, even though, people just wanted to literally kill him for all of that. But that's for a different philosophical debate. The real stuff is going on right here. 14-10 after those 3 points. Seahawks after starting off 14-0, 10 unanswered points by the Texans team. 2nd and 8 for this offense. It's going to be out of bounds by Mr. Campbell, thank God, because they were roasting us to start this game off on just a couple big plays. They really haven't done anything when it comes to third down conversions, I'd imagine. First downs as well. And speaking of a third down conversion, nothing happening on that one. David Carr getting quite a bit of sacks. I know most of the routes were going to the right side of the field, but it should have opened up had I just gone to the left. Lots of good blocking by Eric Winston on the left side of the offensive line. Should have just stayed over there and bought a little bit more time, but it is what it is. Nice sack right there by Mr. Hill. And this Seahawks team that is quite impressive, that still this is an impressive Seahawks team. We know damn well. Their running back's on the fucking cover. Should have thrown it to Dominic Davis, wide open on the left side. Bad timing right there to Andre Johnson on the catch. Going to lead to a punt away and Seattle ball, but however, third down for them later on in their drives. Just when you depend on Matt Hasselbeck to scramble, no. But you can depend on Crawford, who is a young stud, 98 speed, just going to ass blast his way past the nickel cornerback, and it's going to be the first lead out of the day for this Texans team. And that's a bad man. Sean Alexander out of Alabama University. That's a bad man at running back around this time, just fresh off, well, at least when he was on the cover of the first season in this game, fresh off of his 28 touchdown season before LaDainian Tomlinson ends up breaking it. But, that's what the crazy thing is. LaDainian Tomlinson breaks that record for most rushing touchdowns. But on top of that, in the middle of it, you're like, oh yeah, he's also one of the best, dual threat. Maybe you could say triple threat, considering they would also use the man for halfback passes. That literally was one of the big things. Like, it would be like, oh yeah, you want some trickery in the NFL? Use LaDainian Tomlinson on this halfback pass. And you're like, oh dude, that's a cool little addition, But yeah, that's also the same dude that was 99 overall for 5 fucking straight seasons. Defensive pass interference also leads to a big fuck you, considering after that penalty, in the middle of it, Andre Johnson uses a beautiful, beautiful awareness on the tip drill and what wasn't really the best of passes, but it looked all awkward. But also, you could also add that it had a lot to do with the defensive pass interference to begin with, but these fans are pissed. It is now a 10-point lead for this team at the end of the half. It's going to be Texans ball now in the second half. Play action pass right here to Mr. Putzer, and it's actually going to lead to a nice little highlight. We're going to look back at this one. It was, again, just awkward plays, but they're efficient. Another first down as this Texans team is looking to put more points on the board to add to this lead in what has been 24 unanswered points now, 270 yards throughout the air. And again, that's 270 yards on what has been 4 or 5 sacks so far. Holding by Owen Daniels. Again, that's not his forte, and we need to build him up. It's just like Brunson underneath Dominic Davis. Save money. You don't want to pay that much money to Putzer, especially because I think Owen Daniels is better on the receiving end at least, but Putzer is still, hey, Mr. Williams out of Texas. Big boy too. 6'7", 370. A lot of inertia behind that hit on that interception, but the damage was already done for the Seattle Seahawks. And terrible play by Buchanan. Terrible play by me when I was trying to tip him. I thought he was closer to Mr. Darrell Jackson. Whatever. It is what it is. 2 touchdown catches now by Mr. Jackson. Nice first down run. So the unanswered points have been answered finally. 24-21 later on in this drive. 7 yards by Dominic Davis. And then looking at a lot of the passing yards, it's been a lot of the damage down the middle of the field and more so to the right side of the field as well. And there you go. Nice little pass right there to Roddy White at a UAB in the middle of the field. Go fucking figure. And then a pass over to the right side of the field. Mr. Cook is cooking himself. Not 70 yards like we saw the last time out. But hey, still impressive to help out with the checkdowns. Especially, you're not going to focus on the fullback, especially on this offense with Dominic Davis and company. Brunson, pretty much fully covered like State Farm. Going to lead to a 4th down. And then a beautiful, beautiful kick. Should have, could have gone for another 5 yards. But hey, it is what it is. 3 more points put on the board. 27-21. 1st and 10 after that first down. And again, just a bad man at it again. 9 yards by Sean Alexander. 2nd and 1 immediately after that. It's going to lead to more yards, more downs for this impressive offense. Again, just a pretty underrated duo. I don't care if they, got to a Super Bowl to where they lose to a Steelers team. Still, I mean, there's just an underrated duo at Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander at quarterback and running back. Mr. Cook, again, cooking. Nice first down right there by the man. 2nd and 12 later on in the drive. Pass out to Mr. Brunson. Another first down. Again, I think he's got more speed. I know I'm building him up and fumbling right there. But Dominic Davis has had some shitty fumbles as well. Not as bad as the Madden NFL 2005 fumbling by Kevin Jones. But Kenichi Udeze. Pretty much putting UD's nuts on Mr. Carr in what has been an impressive day by him. And speaking of impressive, 8 catches for 107 yards. And what, seems to be about 4 or 5 big catches, usually by Andre Johnson for 100 yards. He ends up having quite the Marvin Harrison type day with possessive wide receiving. And still finds different ways to put some damage on the other team. They just can't guard him. I know Roddy White is there as a nice compliment, but Andre Johnson's the real stud around here. Interception by Phillip Buchanan at the 40-yard line. 3rd down, though, on this drive. Pass out Dominic Davis. Too much momentum. 30-21, 56 yards. It wasn't a full bar of power, though, and we found out what ends up happening there. I mean, maybe he can kick a 60-yarder if it's at a full bar, but it wasn't a full bar, and it was a miss. Only up by 9 because, let's be honest, the Seattle team they're too damn good to make me feel comfortable about a lead like this. Nice catch. No, but a penalty on Houston defensive pass interference. Robinson, now we see exactly why that's the case. Only 3 minutes and 15 left. What can this Seattle team do? Get a first down yet by Mr. Reed. And then right there, time of possession has been quite the difference, as this Houston team has pretty much controlled the game since those 2 big touchdowns to start off for Seattle Seahawks. But speaking of touchdowns, touchdown by them. And speaking of trying to melt this clock down, nice play. Should be an additional 20 yards or so for Andre Johnson on his day. But a big 3rd down stop. And it actually stopped the clock. I probably should have just tried to run the ball, but they did have a timeout. And now I just give them the fucking ball right here with a timeout. So again, just stupid moves. Just trying to get a first down, not realizing this, how much it would pin them down to have it. But hey, this is a badass defense, and we're trying to try our best. It's 3rd down, no huddle now, 4th down at 9. All they need is 25 yards. And they do have a solid kicker. Let's be honest, these teams just improve when they keep their players like that. But hey, speaking of improvement, the man who was just originally started off at 85 overall is now 99 overall. It's Mario Williams. That's what you expect out of your number 1 overall pick. Out of NC State, of all places. And, again, mind you, rookie for this game to start off. I mean, the dude's a stud. And studs get things done when you need them. 30-28, now 4-2 on the season. I think the next game will be up against the Indianapolis Colts, who 6-0 at the time, undefeated. Definitely the creme de la creme of the division, with Peyton Manning back at full health compared to what he was last season, and a defense that's only given up 55 yards. Always take it easy, fellas.